Hello everyone. In this week, as a part of BA6933 Statistical and Quantitative Analysis, we will be working on confidence interval calculations. Usually, it is a limit, uh, it's a range kind of thing that will be mentioned based on which we will be interpreting the data. Okay. So to understand it in a more better way, let us see some scatter diagram, and it will more helpful to explain you the concept. This is the image. This is just for example. You are not supposed to write anything related to this image in your work. This is just to make you understand what is confidence interval. If you see in this image, there is a trend line that gives you approximate value of the possible sales value. Say for example, if you take this 12, like advertising experience as 12,000, the possibility that the value will be, the sales value will be approximately this one, maybe 38,000, something like that. When we spend average expenditure of 14,000, the value is 43,000 sales. Okay, like this trend line helps us to get some value prediction. Okay, so but if you see, when you are spending 12,000, the trend line is saying that you might get approximately 38,000, but the actual value is 40. This difference we called margin error, marginal error. So margin of error we call it. So so if you take accurate like 38,000, this value will be false. So the concept of confidence interval comes here. So because of confidence interval, like the analyst will be considering margin of error. Maybe here, if the margin of error is 3,000, say approximate, like it is a 3,000, we will be like the confidence value we will be calculating that whatever the confidence value I'm telling, that is called margin of error. So when that value is considered, maybe 3,000, if the margin of error is 3,000, so the approximation will be like from trend line means 38 plus or minus 3,000 means plus 3,000 is 41,000, minus 3,000 is 35,000. So there is a possibility. We say that based on the confidence interval, the possibility that the value lies between 35,000 and 41,000. So when we take this kind of approximation, the value is present within the range, right? Between 35,000 and 41,000. So the accuracy of model will increase. And it provides, definitely it provides most accurate value based on the confidence interval. If confidence interval is not considered, the concept of margin of error will not be there, and most often the model that we propose, that will be failing. So here you can see that most of the values are not on trend line, but we, our prediction says when we spend 5,000 rupees, the average value is maybe approximately 23,000, but the actual value is 29. Okay, this difference fails the prediction. Okay, so when we consider confidence value, maybe the possibility that most nearest values are covered. Okay, so if we take this is maybe this is 18,000. So minus 3,000 is 15,000, plus 3,000 is 21,000. The value is 17. It comes under the range. So that's what we call confidence interval. So the concept of confidence interval clearly it helps you to ensure that the proposed model get more success because it considers margin value. So now what is given here in the Excel sheet? The first task is to calculate, develop. We are need to develop a 95% confidence interval and limits. Confidence interval limits means upper limit and lower limit for total income for 5 years after graduation. Okay, so this we need to calculate. So let me show you how we can calculate this. So when you check the data, you can see that in F line, income after 5 years of graduation is given here. So this contains 500 rows. We already know in the previous assignment. So this consists of 500 rows. Now we need to calculate some sort of values based on which we will be developing confidence interval. All right. So let me take you to the answer sheet. I will copy the question. You need not to follow the same step. You can use your own method. You can simply say answer one, but just for understanding, I am taking to make you understand in a better way. I am taking this one. Okay. Um, no margin center. So this is first question. I'm taking we need to develop confidence interval for total income after 5 years. Guys, you need not to follow the same style. I will keep on telling you again and again. You just need to understand how the calculations are made, and you should follow your own style. But most often people are just following my style. It is not required. See, I took in a column wise. I took the values. You can take the values in row size also. And I took sample size first. You can take sample size loss. It's up to you. Okay. So this is just you need to perform calculations by understanding what I am doing. Okay. Simply you can take values as you like, how you can present. It's your own style of presentation. So make sure you follow your own style. Just understand how I am calculating. First, I need sample size. Sample size means like total number of values. So to get that, we need a formula called count. Count of, what is that one? F column, this one. Okay, so as I mentioned, it contains 500 rows, so it should generate 500 rows actually. The value will be 500. So this generated 500. Now then mean value I need to calculate. Mean value of the actual total income after 500. What is the average value that we need to calculate? Average. So average of, again, I will go to week 3 and I will select F column. Maybe let me remember this one. F22. F22. F501. Okay, this is the average value. So to my like for my conference, I'm just considering this one. Um, Average is 100, 560, 100, 560. Done. Now standard deviation I need to calculate. STDEV, standard deviation of sample. And let me take same values week 3 from here to F501. Then I got three values now: sample size, mean, standard deviation. The next step is I need to calculate margin of error. Okay. So I will show you the margin of error formula. This is the formula. Confidence T. Margin of error will be calculated using this formula. Confidence dot T, t-test in the t-test, as it is 95%, as it is 95% confidence interval. So we take, what is, let me take here, confidence interval, confidence 95%, right? 95%. As it is 95%, we need to take that as 1 minus 95%. Okay. So now 1 minus 95% is 0.05, which is 5%. Then we should take standard deviation value and the count value. When we implement this formula, you will get margin of error. Margin of error is this value, 2047. Okay. So you can use straight away like this also, rather than implementing all these things. So here we will be taking formula text to sample. This is equal to formula text. Okay, this is straight we took right value. There is no problem. And here again we can give so like this you can give formula text value. Otherwise you can straight away calculate Maybe this I will implement is equal to confidence of t. Let me copy this. This is as I have value 1 minus 95%, and this is standard deviation of income, and the count of this is F2 to F5 not 1. This is also F2 to F501. So rather than implementing all these things, I can straight away calculate like this also. It is up to you, like to make it more clear, or you can calculate straight away. So this is also you can apply. Anyhow, remove this. I'm just making formula here. So this is how we calculate this. Now let us calculate. Now we have what we have margin of error. This is what we call margin of error. Confidence interval lower will be there, lower range and upper range. So let me take it beneath this one. Okay, I will take it here lower, upper. So confidence interval have lower value and upper value. Lower value is equal to mean value minus margin error. This is the lower value, and upper value is mean value plus margin of error. So now you developed a proper dealing of confidence interval and limits for total income of 5 years after graduations. So the possible value, like the possible mean value, means like the value that will be on trend line. Okay. So the possible mean value will range between 98,512 and 102,607. The mean value definitely will lie between these two values. So it gives more accuracy because we are considering margin of error. If you take any person in the room, so there is a possibility that the mean value will be between 98,512 and 102,607. Their salary will be between these two values. Okay. So the values that are out of these values, whatever the value, outliners, we call them outliners. Okay. So anyhow, so just we need to mention like this confidence interval should be explained. So say for example, what I can do, maybe you can take help of any tool to understand it in a more better way. You should mention like confidence interval value is calculated for total income 5 years after graduation, and the interval values are these two. So just for your understanding, and I don't encourage you to use AI, but for your better understanding. So say, so confidence interval values are calculated for income after 5 years of graduation. The values are, we take brackets simply 98,512, 98,512, comma 102,607, 102,607. type meaningful interpretation. What insights we get from. Okay, so this is we get. Okay, so this much data we are getting, but make sure you simply explain what it is explaining. Okay, you try to understand it. You try to provide your insights, your own understanding insights out of this much data. So not very big is required. You simply give it in 3 4 lines, 2 3 lines at the cost. Okay. So this makes good understanding. Like here, you should provide your interpretation. Provide your interpretation here. So I will move on to the next question. You should understand and you should give your own interpretation. I'm moving on to the next question. Now the second question speaks about considering 3 different schools, and for each school we should calculate same kind of thing. Okay, so similar kind of calculation we perform for 3 different schools. Okay, and the confidence interval level is same, 95%. And what I do, like you have calculation earlier, right? Just you will be copying the same thing up to this, maybe first one. Whatever the way you calculated, if you horizontally performed it, you just calculate, take that one and paste it beneath this one. So now you just assume what are the 3 different schools. From the data, you can understand what are the 3 different schools: private, profit, private for profit, and private public. 3 different. Private not for profit, private for profit, and public. These are the 3 different schools. Okay, so let's calculate for public school. Next, we take same data and we take it for private school. Private for profit. Again, same values we take, and for non-profit. So these are 3 different schools, right? So now what we need to do, we should calculate. We need to use the function. The count should be for value that is public. Okay, the school that is public. Okay, so let me use the formula for that one. For here, the function is count if function. It should be count if. This should be count if function, and count if, go to week 3 and school type. So D2 to D3 school type, right? This is school type, comma PUBLIC public. So you got value. See what we did. So maybe you can take like D1 to, sorry, D2 to D501. This gives you more accurate value. Okay. So this should be mentioned. The values are in the rows D2 to D501. So when you take this one and the value is public, you will get count. So this is the count of schools, among those total schools, the schools that are public. Now let us calculate mean value. Mean value is also a conditional mean value we can calculate. Let us see how we can do that. The formula is average if, let me remove this one, average if. Okay, so I will take a column of school type like D, comma, and it should be what is the condition public, and comma what is the range, again F. So as it was mentioned earlier, let me take values D1 to D 502. This should be D22. So D2 to 501. And this should be from F2 to F501. So I got average value for this one, this interval. And again, standard deviation. Stand for standard deviation also, there is a similar kind of condition. There is some error in this one. Let me check. Actually, Excel should support this function, but I don't know why this is not supporting. So what I do is like, let us use pivot table to calculate standard deviation. So just simple question, right? We are not supposed to, we are supposed to get these values. From this, everything will be set. We get all the values. Okay. So what I do is like I will create a pivot table out of this one. So let me select, click on any cell and click here, and total data set will be selected, and insert pivot chart, pivot table from range, and to existing output, come to answer sheet and somewhere here just enter it. Okay. So you will get some sort of table, and now we need to take income for income values and for school type. Okay, and this should be standard deviation. This you got now, standard deviation. This is value field setting, standard deviation of selected values. Now you can clearly see different type of school types and standard deviations. I don't want you to copy it from here. Just take the value from the standard deviation table 23 for this is for public, right? So just take this value 23414. Now you got all the values. So these values are automatically generated. So actually, I'm using another formula. Some people can use it. Like if they don't become successful with the formula, use this data. Otherwise, this function, whatever the function is mentioned here, if here you should take a school type, and if it is public, then take the resultant values here. This function will definitely help and it will be generating value. Anyhow, so I used pivot chart to pivot table to generate standard deviation values, and I took value from pivot chart. Okay. So now what is the confidence level? It is 95%. So I took 95% of confidence. Now I need to calculate margin of error. So in the same formula, we implemented these things and we got margin of error. And this is confidence interval for what? Public school. Okay. Next, I should calculate this for, let me check. This is from D2 to 501 and the mean value is from F2 to 501. They're all good. This is all good. Okay. So now here I got sample size 530. Mm, It might be because of error. So I need to correct this one, right? What value we have here in confidence level? This is private for non-profit. We are calculating for profit, right? So this should be taken private for profit. I'm taking this value and just pasting it here. Okay, so that I can use this cell to generate value. And this should be from F1 to F502. Count if this value. This is a small mistake actually. This is count if first we should take school type. Let's go to school type, this type and comma. And what is the value? Private for profit. So it generated 102. Again, similarly, average function. We can take copy of this one. Okay, we can copy these things. Okay, so let me take everything I will copy here. So this one copied and same values I will paste it here. It will be better. And same values I also pasted for non-profit. Okay. So now for profit, what is the value? D1 sale, D2 sale. It should be up to 502. So this is the interval, confidence interval. D2 to 502 speaks about school type. And here let me take value of private for profit. It is 152. And here also it is from D1 to D2 to D502. This is from F2 to F502. And the value should be for profit. Okay. So for profit. Next, standard deviation. This value I will take from here. This is the value I have. And the total confidence level is calculated. So you are supposed to give your interpretation. Okay. So make sure you give your interpretation here. All right. Mm, Next, you will be giving your interpretation here. We have third type of school, that is private for non-profit. This one I will copy it here and I will make it. I will just copy paste it here. Otherwise, what I do is just I will select this and will paste it here. Okay. So now similar kind of thing. First one is for non-profit. You are supposed to take account of count value. So this is D22, D502 is the column where it speaks about type of score. And I will replace this with the option here. This is 140 for schools are on the name of private, not profit. And same formula I will take. This should be same like for average if week 3, it is from D2 to D502. For these values, what should be the value? The value is private for non-profit, and this is from F2 to F502. So this is the average value, and now standard deviation we will be copying it from the sheet. Okay, so this is the non-profit value 22507. By doing this, remaining formulas are same, and you get approximate values. Just give your interpretation here. So second question is calculated now, and we have everything is properly working. So better we make the data static. Okay, so here it is. If you make this one static, the confidence levels and the remaining thing, if you make static, you can copy and paste same value for multiple things, multiple fields. Okay, now let us go with the third question. So better you will understand it in a more better way. So copy the question. Where is the question? So it's the three different schools, right? Now what we have students age. For the students age, we are supposed to perform it for different school types. Usually, like till now, we worked on income values. So values are income. Now, age is the value. So here, whatever we took, like from 5 not, so here we took like F2 to F502, right? So for that one, now we take age. Age field is C. So we should take C2 to something like C501, like that. Okay. So for this value, we are supposed to calculate. Let me take the question, copy the question, and let me paste it here. This is the third question for the student's age. So again, you have same kind of schools, three different schools, and you should take income levels. What I do is I will make these things static. So star dollar D22, D502, D2, D501. So this the range I will make static. The range should be wherever the range is there, I will make it static. Otherwise, let me do it again for the next levels. So first what I do, first I will calculate for public school by using which you can make for other schools. Okay. So this is public school. And for public school, I will make it UB LIC public here. Okay. So now I need to count from D2 to D501. What is the value? So I will make this one using the formula here. Okay. So now it is 214. So simply we can see this. Okay. Now what is the mean value? When mean value, uh, so how we calculated average if the condition is go to confidence levels and select school D function, right? So make it static dollar $D, dollar $22, dollar $D, and dollar $502, comma, and when the value is public, comma, and the values range is age. So this should be dollar $C, dollar $2, dollar $C, to dollar $502. We made range. See, when you select this one, this shows that it's a fixed range. Next time when we copy and paste it, it won't get changed. Got it? So this is the average age 30.85. Now for standard deviation of age based on the school, let us take a pivot table again. So here we took it, right? The similar row here, what we do, we generate a pivot table that speaks about standard deviation values of different school types for age. Okay. So what I do, click on here and select Control A to select all the data and click Insert, click on Pivot Table, click Range, click on, look, the range is perfect, right? Now, like where you want to print this one. Go to week 3 answer sheet and beside this, just click here and click OK. Now you should take value is age and value is age and school type you should take, and you need to change sum to standard deviation values. This is standard deviation. Okay, click OK. Now it got done. So now you have standard deviation values based on the school type. So what we do, so for this one it is calculated, right? When the value is public, we calculated average. Now standard deviation, this you should take for public school, you are supposed to select this one. This is public, right? So just when the school type is public. Now you have all the values and the margin of error is calculated and confidence interval is also calculated for the average age. We just need to interpret it. So proper calculation. We need to create a model like this so that when inputs are given, inputs here are sample size, mean, standard deviation, and confidence level. Okay. So it automatically generates your values. All right. Next, for same thing, you are supposed to calculate it for private type of school. What is that? Private for profit. If you take this one private for profit, now you can see that this count is automatically set on 42. Okay. So, and it is taking from D2 to D501 for profit, private for profit. And it automatically calculates these values. So now these two are automatically set because the range we took is a standard range. So it properly generated. We just need to update this one for profit, this value standard for here, private for profit is there, right? So at right side, top bottom, we can see the table, pivot table. From that one, we should take the value, and 95% is the confidence level. It automatically calculates margin of error and the lower and upper intervals, and you can automatically get all the values based on which you can interpret it. Okay. So similarly, I will take it for again another option, which is private for non-profit. So I need to copy and paste the value here, private for not for a profit. This one, it automatically generates some of the values. So here, as it was done earlier, we just need to update the standard deviation. Remaining all values automatically updates. Standard deviation value for not profit is this one. Okay, so is equal to not profit. So if you can see here, we took value when it is public. Here we took value when it is profit, and here we took value when it is not a profit. We have all input values, and this generates, this creates, like as it is automatically getting implemented in the margin of error. We are getting margin of error, and based on margin of error and mean value, we are generating confidence intervals. We will be interpreting it. So once you do it properly for one particular calculation, similar kind of implementation is done for all other problems. We need to properly interpret it based on the type of calculation, what we are calculating, based on which we will be interpreting. If you are not able to understand it, just use the formula. Use the way I mentioned you earlier, how a prompt should be created for this one. Use that and interpret it. In two, three lines, you just interpret what you understand. Okay. So now come to fourth question. This is done, and this is done. And this should be calculated now. Limits for proportion of males for each three different type of schools. Okay, so this is a type of proportions we are supposed to calculate. So let me implement this. First let me copy the question and paste it in the answer sheet. Now, now let me take the inputs. It is almost same, but inputs, there will be some sort of difference in the input. Okay. Here, according to the question, we should calculate proportion of males first for all the three different type of schools, and then we should implement the formula to get confidence interval values. So proportions is like what is the percentage of males in total population of particular type of school. That's what we calculate. Okay. So based on that, we will be calculating interval values. So let me try this out. Here, the inputs are total population, like total people or like total number of people present, includes males and females, both in public school. Now, out of which we will be calculating total males and we will be calculating proportion of males. Then we calculate standard error based on the proportion of males, and we calculate a margin of error And using proportion of males and margin of error, we will be calculating confidence interval. Let us see how we can calculate it. To calculate total count when the value is public, we use countif. And let us go to the range. Here range is existing inside school type, and we make it like dollar $D1 to D2 to dollar D501, dollar D501. So this is the value where the value is public. Okay, we get some sort of value here, 214. Out of this, we should calculate a total males. So how many people are males? So the function looks like this, count if. We need to take count if the function, count ifs function, and just select a proper medium dollar D1 to, sorry, dollar D2 to dollar D502, 501, dollar D2 to dollar D501, and the value should be public. And this is a school type. For the male, what is the male gender? It should be from your confidence interval, this one, when the value is public, comma, and again confidence interval B, that should be from dollar B2 to dollar B dollar 501. The value is M when it is male. So out of this one, total males is 113. Okay, so we can make it maybe like M. Let's make it M, and we include it in the function. Okay, so let's make this one. When the value is M, this is what we have. So proportion of males is equal to total males divided by total public in public schools. This is the proportionate. Proportion of males is 0.5 to 8037. So standard error problem is formula is standard error we will be calculating using square root function, square root of proportion of males into 1 minus again proportion of males divided by total n. So this gives you the standard error value. Now to calculate margin of error, again you should have here z value. We have confidence interval value is 95%. Confidence value is 95%. 95%. Based on which we will be calculating norm or inverse as it is to tail value. So what we do, we take this formula. It is 1 minus the value divided by 2. Okay. So that gives 1.96 actually. So round it off, and we round it off, it will be 1.96. Just cross check the formula. This is the formula that we need to use. Okay. So you can straight away calculate all these values the way you want. You can make an effective, more effective table kind of thing, and you can calculate. I'm calculating like a waterfall model kind of thing. First public, next private. Same thing. You can use this one, and here you can give public, private, like that. Also, you can calculate. Just make sure you understand the concept. Now, let us take margin of error formula. Margin of error formula is 1.96, which is a Z value, Z critical value into standard error. So rather than using this formula, what we do, we multiply these two values, this value into standard error value. So this is margin of error. So after margin of error, we will be calculating confidence interval. Here lower limit is, uh, let me take proportion of males. So is equal to proportion of males minus margin of error, and upper value is proportion of males plus margin of error. So these values we should calculate. This is how we can calculate everything. Just create a formula text again. Very simple, and wherever there is no formula text, remove it. Now, now you see, whenever we took some sort of range, this is the range, right? Dollar symbols are existing. And wherever we took reference values, we don't need that much of static values. Okay, these are the static ranges. Okay, now let me calculate the same thing for private schools. Now you find how simple it is. What I need to do this here, I will be changing the value to private for profit. This one is private for profit. Now you can see like the values are automatically changed. This is count is changed to 142, and M value, the total number of males in that particular count, 142 people is 182, that got changed. And now proportion is updated. Standard of error is updated automatically. So we don't need any standard deviation here, right? So need not to create any pivot table for this fourth problem. Got it. Now all the values automatically got calculated. You understand? So just cross check whether you got the same values or not. That's it. And you can round it off. You can round off these values to 4, 3, 2 values. Okay. Decimals for 4, 3, 2 decimal values. Like 4 decimal value round off is, this is 4 decimal value. This is 3 decimal. This is 2 decimals. So it's up to you how you will be calculating. Um, so you can see that simply we can generate values by changing one particular value out of it. Now I need to change this value to profit for private, not for profit. Now it automatically changed all the values, and you can interpret it. So after completing this activity, this all the four problems got solved. Now using this, you are supposed to create a two-page document. What you learned from this, what expectations you were able to achieve. All those things you should explain. Let me show you the briefing document. Now here, you got a clear requirement key. Your explanation should be in 1 to 2 pages. Okay, and it should contain a proper headings and other things. So what you should explain? You should explain overview of the analysis, what you analyzed and what you tried to perform, interpretation of the results, what insights you got. You already interpreted in your Excel sheet. So you can take all the interpretation and you can paste them here. Real world business implications, how these calculations, whatever the calculations you performed, how they can impact on real world business applications. So make sure you discuss them properly. Visual representation and supporting evidence. If you have any evidences related to that, you can just mention it. And what kind of limitations are there in this particular analysis. So like using confidence intervals, there will be certain limitations for that particular concept, right? You just need to mention that. All these things should be completed within 1 to 2 pages, and you are supposed to submit both Excel and Word documents. Both the things are to be submitted. Okay, this is one way of doing it. See, in the total document, only difference that you will get is related to this standard deviation of second and third problem. If your application supports filter, like just test it, just this one. Come to third option and use filter function is equal to filter filter and select this option. See, when you click here and when you click filter, this should show just filter function, not filter XML function. If this show filter function, it means that your application is having your Excel file supports filter function. Okay. So if you got that sort of function, it is better to use it to show some difference. Okay. Otherwise, it is okay if you go with the pivot table. I'm happy with this one. Just follow this structure. So what is the function like a filter for filter function? What is the formula for this standard deviation is